Thanks, Mr. President. Mr. President, I rise today in strong opposition to SJ Res 11, the Congressional Review Act resolution to disapprove of the Biden administration's clean air standards for heavy-duty trucks. If enacted, this resolution would wipe away EPA's most recent final rule that addresses smog and foot-forming pollution from our largest trucks and engines. The resolution could also prevent the agency from ever issuing similar standards in the future. This Congressional Review Act resolution is bad for public health. It's bad for our economy. As many of us know, the transportation sector is one of our nation's largest sources of nitrogen oxide, also known as NOx emission. Heavy-duty vehicles such as our school buses and long-haul trucks make up a third of mobile source NOx emissions. Nitrogen oxide pollution is one of the main contributors to ozone pollution or smog, and also contributes to soot pollution. These harmful air pollutants are linked to increased risks of asthma attacks, respiratory disease, and sadly, in some cases, premature death. In December 2022, I joined clean air advocates, labor leaders, and EPA Administrator Reagan as he signed the final rule to reduce this pollution from new heavy-duty vehicles starting with model year 2027. This was the first time in more than 20 years that EPA had updated the heavy-duty vehicle NOx requirements. It should not be confused with EPA's recently proposed greenhouse gas emission standards for vehicles. During the event, Administrator Reagan told attendees that this rule would result in 48% reduction in NOx by 2045, 48% reduction in nitrogen oxide emissions by 2045. These reductions will improve air quality nationwide, especially in the areas overburdened by air pollution and diesel emissions. Reducing vehicle pollution nationwide is especially personal for us in Delaware, where more than 90% of our air pollution comes from outside of our state. The heavy-duty vehicle NOx rule is good for our health and good for our economy. And with that, I want to give my colleagues 3 reasons why they should vote against Senator Fisher's CRA resolution. First, the heavy-duty NOx rule enables states to better meet EPA's health-based ozone air quality standards. Without the rule, states would have to make costly decisions and find more expensive ways to further reduce NOx emissions to meet ozone attainment. That's why many states and local air quality directors, including those in Arizona and Ohio and Nevada, petitioned EPA in 2016 to take action on NOx emissions from heavy-duty vehicles. In the same vein, I'd like to ask for unanimous consent to submit to for the record a letter opposing SJ Res 11 from the National Association of Clean Air Agencies, which is an association that represents the state's clean air offices. Second, these standards are achievable and they provide predictability for industry, which the blunt tool of the CRA would undercut. Companies such as Cummins and others in the heavy-duty vehicle industry support the heavy-duty NOx rule. The CRA would reinstate a decades-old standard based on outdated air pollution control technology while potentially blocking EPA from ever adopting stronger standards. And finally, if enacted, this CRA would negate the cumulative $200 billion in net benefits that the rule would generate between 2027 and 2045. These are the annual health and economic benefits that by 2045 include up to, listen to this, up to 2,900 fewer premature deaths in 1 year, Also in 1 year, 6,700 fewer hospital admissions and emergency room visits. Also in 1 year, 18,000 fewer cases of childhood asthma. And finally, in 1 year, 3.1 million fewer cases of asthma. These improvements will be especially beneficial for the 72 million people living near truck, freight routes, where many historically disadvantaged and underserved communities are disproportionately exposed to harmful ozone pollution. Mr. President, let me conclude by saying that the heavy-duty NOx vehicle rule protects public health and benefits our economy. That's a good combination. These protective and achievable Clean Air Act standards reduce dangerous smog and soot pollution and provide certainty for our nation's heavy-duty vehicle manufacturers and for our state. Walking away from all the benefits generated by this rule doesn't make sense. That's why I call on my colleagues to join me in opposing SJ Res 11. And with that, Mr. President, I yield the floor. Thank you.